So there I was, you see, just sitting in my armchair, thinking about nouns, pronouns, verbs, things like that, when all of a sudden I looked up and I discovered it was gone. All right, Professor. Now will you tell us again what it was that was gone? Why, my book of modifiers, one of the most valuable in my entire collection. Oh my, I'm so upset by all this, because modifiers, adjectives and adverbs that is, are terribly important. You see, they help us form an exact mental image of whatever we're talking about. Take adjectives, for example. They modify nouns and pronouns by giving descriptive information about them. Now, if you'll hand me that mug book, I'll show you how. First, adjectives answer the question, which. For example, the word left is an adjective in the sentence, suspect parts hair on left side, because it answers the question, on which side does the suspect part his hair? The left. Adjectives also answer the question, what kind? In the sentence, suspect was last seen wearing ridiculous costume, ridiculous tells what kind of costume the suspect wore. And so, it is an adjective. Adjectives also answer the question, how many? How many years are Fanny and Cloyd serving? The adjective 5 tells us. And adjectives answer the inquiry, what color? What color were the suspect's lips? The adjective orange provides the answer. Finally, if one asks what size, adjectives give the answers to that too. What size is the mole? The adjective large tells us. No. I'm terribly sorry. There's no one here that looks even remotely familiar. I suppose we'll have to go downtown to dig further into this deplorable state of affairs. While we're on our way, I suppose I should also mention that there is a group of adjectives called articles. The, a, and an are examples. Articles simply point out or separate one thing from another. There are also demonstrative adjectives such as these, this, that, and those. Demonstrative adjectives, when standing alone, might be confused with pronouns. But when they appear in sentences, it's easy to tell the difference between the two. In the first sentence, the word this modifies car by answering the question, which one? This one, and so it's an adjective. In the second sentence, the word this takes the place of the noun car, and so it's a pronoun. Anyway, I'm sure you understand now why I'm so upset. All those adjectives in my book of modifiers are terribly important, because adjectives tell which one, what kind, how many, what color and what size, not even to mention the articles and demonstratives. In addition to telling which one, what kind, how many, what color, and what size, adjectives do something else. They help us compare persons, places, things, or abstractions. For example, one might say suspect A is mean. Suspect B is meaner than A. And suspect C is the meanest one of all. As you can see, the form of the adjective changes when one compares two and when one compares three or more persons or objects. Most adjectives do change their basic form as they express what are called degrees of comparison. The first, called the positive degree, is simply the adjective itself. The positive degree is used when no comparison is being made. The second level of comparison, called the comparative degree, is used when two things or persons are being compared. Most comparative degree adjectives are formed in one of two ways. The first is by adding an ER ending to the positive degree form, as in mean, meaner. The second way is by placing the words less or more in front of the positive form. Adjectives with 3 or more syllables, ornery is an example, almost always form their comparatives this way. Finally, we have the superlative degree. Superlative degree adjectives are used when comparing 3 or more persons or things. The suspect on the far right is the meanest of all 3. Most superlative degree adjectives, as with comparative degree adjectives, are formed one of 2 possible ways. One is by adding an est ending, as in meanest. The other is by using the words least or most in front of the positive form, as in least cantankerous and most cantankerous. Most and least are normally used when the adjective has 3 or more syllables. No, none of these characters look familiar, and I must be getting back. And now we come to something, well, I don't quite know how to talk about it actually, but there are some adjectives that just don't follow the rules.
No!
Yes, it's quite true. We call them irregular adjectives because they form their comparative and superlative degrees irregularly. 2 examples are many, more, and most, and little, less, and least. Of course, you expect that sort of thing from bad, worse, and worst. But from good, better, best, The only thing one can do is learn what the irregulars are and memorize their comparative and superlative forms. That way, they won't give you any trouble. Well now, does everyone understand what we mean by the degrees of comparison of adjectives?
Yes, Professor.
Good, because I've prepared a little quiz to make certain that you do. Just fill in the blanks with the comparative and superlative degrees of these 4 adjectives. Well, there you are. The only tricky one here is perfect, because if something's already perfect, it can't be made more perfect or most perfect. Adjectives such as perfect can't be compared because they already express an absolute state or quality.
Hey, Professor, I think I found a clue.
A clue, eh? Well then, let's take a look. Looks as if the booknapper dropped a page of adverbs. Oh, you do know what adverbs are, don't you? Well, I'll just have to tell you then. A clue can't help you much unless you know what it is, An adverb is a word that modifies or gives information about verbs, adjectives, and even other adverbs. They do it by answering specific questions, such as where. In the sentence, the revelers are here. The adverb here answers the question, where are the revelers? They're here. Adverbs also answer the question, how, or how is an action performed? In speak softly and carry a big stick, softly is an adverb because it tells how the verb speak is performed. How? Softly. Adverbs also answer the inquiry, when. For example, if one said, he wound the clock yesterday, the adverb yesterday tells when the clock was wound. Finally, adverbs answer the question, to what extent. In the sentence, Nemesis is always punctual, the adverb always tells to what extent he is punctual. Always. Speaking of Nemesis, where is that lad? I think it's time for tea. While we're waiting for Nemesis, we'll take a small break so you can review what we've said about adverbs. As you may know, adverbs, as with adjectives, change their form when used for comparative purposes. For example, I move hesitantly when the wind blows, more hesitantly when it's hot, and most hesitantly when I have to get out of bed in the morning. We use the same degrees of comparison for adverbs as we use for adjectives: positive, comparative, and superlative. The positive degree consists simply of the basic form of the adverb, hesitantly. The comparative degree in this example, more hesitantly, is used for comparisons involving two possibilities. For example, I move more hesitantly when it's hot than when the wind blows. Most comparatives consist of the adverb plus the words more or less, although some are formed with ER endings, such as fast in I run fast, but she runs faster. Finally, superlative degree adverbs are used for comparisons involving three or more. I move most hesitantly when I get out of bed in the morning, when I compare that action to walking in the wind and when it's hot outside. Most superlative degree adverbs are formed with the adverb plus most or least in front of it, although some, such as fastest, have an EST ending. And now, oh my, we come to the rule breakers again, those irregular adverbs whose comparatives and superlatives are, well, irregularly formed. Examples are badly, worse and worst, well, better, best, and much, more, most. As with irregular adjectives, one should know what the irregular adverbs are and memorize their forms so one can use them properly whenever one has to.
Hey, Professor, I caught him! I caught the book napper!
Caught the book napper, eh? Well, let's have a look at that scoundrel. Nemesis! Oh, I should have known it was you from the very first. Always mixing up adjectives and adverbs, never knowing when to use one or the other. You realized you needed some help and took the book without permission. But it's all so simple, really. As I was telling these officers, adjectives modify nouns and pronouns. They give descriptive information that helps us form an accurate mental picture about persons, places, things, or abstractions. The adverb, on the other hand, modifies verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. They help provide precise information about actions or qualities. Both adjectives and adverbs can change their form to express different degrees of comparison. The basic form of the adjective or adverb, such as lethargic and quick, or lethargically and quickly, is known as the positive degree. Positive degree modifiers don't compare. Manuel is a quick learner. Joan is a lethargic runner. Neither is compared to anyone else. The comparative degree is used for comparing two possibilities. Nemesis is a more lethargic runner than I, or he moves more lethargically in the morning than in the afternoon. The superlative degree is used for comparing three or more. Nemesis is the most lethargic person in the room. He moves the most lethargically among all of us here. And finally, we have those rule-breaking irregulars, adjectives, adverbs, and assistants like mine.
Should I throw the book at him, Professor?
Oh, my, no. I'd say he's already had enough book trouble for one day, Besides, I think he's learned something here. And I hope you have, too. Until next time, then, cheerio. Say goodbye, Nemesis.
Goodbye, Nemesis!
True or false? A book of modifiers would contain adverbs and interjections. What 5 questions do adjectives answer? The 3 degrees of comparison are A. Positive, negative, neutral. B. Positive, comparative, superlative. C. First, second, third. Fill in the blanks. Comparative degree adjectives with 3 or more syllables almost always use or in front of the positive form. The best way to remember irregular adjectives is to A. Always use less and least in front of them. B. Always use more and most in front of them. C. Memorize them. Adverbs modify A. Nouns and pronouns. B. Verbs and nouns. C. Verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. Name the 4 questions adverbs answer. Comparative degree adverbs compare A. 2 or more, B. 3 or more, C. Neither A nor B. Tell why the sentence below is incorrect. Suspect A is more mean than suspect B. True or false? An EST ending is used in comparative degree adjectives.